Welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Irene Vane and I'm an instructional specialist from the Consortia office. I'm joined today by Jeannie Franklin, our director, and Karen Danko, our supervisor. Today's presentation is a webinar where you can submit questions on our question feature. We will try to answer as many questions as we can today. This presentation is also in Spanish and ASL. You have a globe option at the bottom of your screen for either Spanish or ASL. And thank you for completing a quick survey at the beginning. You received the prompt.
Vista que
We are
tiene al
going to
principio,
go ahead and clear that prompt in just a few seconds. All right, we're going to take a look at the agenda. You could go ahead and move to the next slide. So for today's agenda, you will receive an update of the program analysis work for local schools and regional programs, review what is designed for every high school, review and discuss the high school asset map and regional program proposals, clarify questions, and review the timeline. So let's get started. We're going to start off with an activator. This is just an activator to help make some connections between numbers and data statements. Please take a few moments to take a look at the slide and either using a piece of paper or the notes on your phone, write down what you think is the matching number with the corresponding letter. We'll provide the answers towards the end of the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and read these because I know not everybody can see the slide. So the numbers are 27, 2027, 2000, 2000 plus, less than 10, 90, and 35. And then we have A is the number of full-time ninth graders, the number of full-time ninth grade full-time programs. B, the number of high school MCPS will have in 2 years. C, the number of grade A students in the wait pool or wait list for regional countywide programs. D, the number of grade A students that applied to the Poolsville Global Ecology Program. E, the year the proposed regional model and the new boundaries for 50 secondary schools will take place. And F, the percentage of students attending their local high school. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. Okay, so why is MCPS making these proposed changes? This is all about more access and opportunities for our students. In 2027, MCPS will have 27 high schools, 2 of which are opening in 2027, and new boundaries have to be established. Numerous students apply to programming and due to limited seats are unable to access programs that may not be available in their schools, may be available in their schools. Also, some barriers such as distance and transportation impact student access. We have an opportunity to create more opportunities closer to home for students in the near and distant future with the proposed model. And we can move forward with the slides. First, we began with a focus on our local high schools by making them even stronger. Our data shows that 90% of our students are attending their local high school. So all schools will offer the following within the 4 years of high school. The MCPS project team recommends that business, finance, and entrepreneurship pathways will be offered at every high school, given the strong student demand for these areas and for financial literacy. In addition, we've been working with the design team made up of community and school staff members, and it is also recommended that all schools offer parallel advanced coursework. For example, ensuring calculus is available at every school. To support this vision, we are focused on ensuring students are well prepared for advanced courses through strong foundational instruction, providing a well-rounded course progression that allows students to explore their interests with both breadth and depth, expanding the use of distance learning to close access gaps across schools, and offering an authentic research experience as part of the student's academic development. The work to ensure all local schools provide these opportunities will move forward in parallel with the regional program development and is considered equally essential to the success of this work. Our schools are also responding to the community. Okay, so we can move forward to the next slide. Okay, so here's what you will see at every high school. Our community has been clear that every local high school must provide strong core courses along with opportunities for rigor through honors, AP, IB, and dual enrollment. Families expect clear course progression with electives, CTE pathways, world language, and fine arts, as well as access to financial literacy, business, technology, coding, and engineering. Just as important are work-based learning and research experiences like AP Seminar and AP Research, paired with space for local innovation. Together, these ensure all students are both well-rounded and future-ready. I also know that some have expressed concern about a strong implementation of local programs. This is the work of the Division of Teaching and Learning, and all of our academic departments will play a role in building or refining course offerings that achieve this vision. In the coming months, we will share more details about how we are ensuring our local schools remain strong so families feel confident and keeping our children in their local school should they choose to. So let's go ahead to the next slide. So let's take a deeper dive into what the Down County high schools currently offer and how can the proposed regional programs accentuate what is there for your student. We will also show all the high schools as we go along, but we're going to put an emphasis on the DCC because we're looking at this for our DCC families right now. Okay, so here's the program's asset map, or we're going to be talking about the program's assets map. There are 5 program themes. Of the 5 program themes, there are 15 program strands. A high school's assets for this map include centrally managed regional county-wide programs, career and technical education programs, less commonly taught languages, arts offerings and facilities, locally non-centrally managed courses and pathways are not reflected. Gaps for program strands are identified per region. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So here is a map to show the proposed 6 regions. You can see MCPS has proposed regions where the schools are grouped by 4 or 5 schools per region, and they're designed to be close together. I'll give you a minute to look at that, and you can see that the DCC schools fall into Region 1 or Region 3. Region 1 includes BCC, Blair, Whitman, Northwood, and Einstein. Region 3 includes Kennedy, Walter Johnson, Woodward, and Wheaton. The colors within the chart indicate the various themes. Oh, we'll take one more minute on this. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is the regional program themes. And I want to point out the colors within the charts indicate the various themes that will be made available in each region. So these are the regional program themes, and I'm just going to read those. We have medical science and healthcare, science, math, technology, and engineering, international baccalaureate, humanities and languages, leadership, public service and education, visual, performing arts, design, and communication. And then on this chart, we see the colors within the chart indicate the various themes that we just saw listed there. And this is the program asset map. And let's orientate ourselves with how to read this visual. This high school asset map is organized by the proposed regions, and it's color-coded by these program themes. You will see on the right the name of the high school, then across the top, it's color-coded by these program themes. We've said that there are 15, but you will count 16 columns because we've added math and science as a combo and career and technical science. The assets that make it on this include 4 areas: career and technical programs, regional countywide programs, and less common languages and information on arts offerings and facilities. It does not reflect local signature or academy programs or dual enrollment. In the last row, you'll see to be developed, and it will show you the program strands that need to be developed in the region. And this is a starting point to inform work going forward. This slide here shows regions 1 and 2. Region 1 includes some of the current DCC schools, and the remaining ones are in Region 3. So just looking at the first Region 1, you'll see it has BCC, Blair, Whitman, Northwood, and Einstein. And then we have Region 2, where we have Blake, Springbrook, Paint Branch, and Sherwood. And we're going to be showing you all of the regions. So that's just region 1 and 2. Right. So then moving on to 3 and 4. So region 3, we have Kennedy, Walter Johnson, Woodward, and Wheaton. So a few more of our DCC schools in that one. And then region 4 is Richard Montgomery, Rockville, Churchill, and Wooten. And then finally, we have regions 5 and 6. So region 5, we have Crown, Magruder, Gaithersburg, Damascus, and Watkins Mill. And then for region 6, Seneca Valley, Clarksburg, Quince Orchard, Poolsville, and Northwest. Hi. So next we're going to look at the working assumptions for the regional programs. So the initial recommendations are made from using the high school assets, regional and countywide programs, career and technical educational pathways, languages, arts, and facilities. This round of recommendations may be adjusted based on additional data. Existing school regional programs that are not elevated this round for the 6-region model may be elevated or have the option to continue as a local pathway. It is expected that successful local pathways could continue. There are 5 program themes that have a total of 15 program strands. Okay, so next we're going to be looking at the initial proposals. And again, the DCC schools fall into region 1 and 3, but we're going to look at all of them. So first you'll see we have regions 1 and 2. So again, region 1, we do have some of our DCC schools, so we can focus on that. So the proposal has BCC would have International Baccalaureate and Humanities. Blair would have Science, Math, Computer Science and Engineering, Communication. Whitman would have Leadership Academy for Social Justice and Public Service and Special Languages. Einstein would have Visual Arts Center and Design and Education. And Northwood would have Performing Arts, Medical Science, and Healthcare. And then for Region 2, we have Blake would have Visual Arts, Performing Arts, Design, Communication, Education. Paint Branch would have Medical Science, Healthcare, Leadership, and Public Service. Springbrook would have Science, Math, Computer Science, International Baccalaureate. And Sherwood would have Engineering, Humanities, and Languages. All right. So Region 3, which has some of our DCC schools, we have Kennedy would have Medical Science and Healthcare, International Baccalaureate. Walter Johnson would have Languages and Humanities, Leadership, Public Service, and Education. Woodward would have Visual Arts, Performing Arts, Design, and Communication. Wheaton would have Science, Math, Computer Science, and Engineering. And then moving on to Region 4, we would have Richard Montgomery with International Baccalaureate and humanities, performing arts. Rockville would have medical science and healthcare, leadership and public service. Churchill would have visual arts, design and communication, languages, education. Wooten would have science, math and computer science, and engineering. And then finally, our regions 5 and 6. We have Crown with science, math, and computer science. Magruder would have engineering, leadership, public service, and education. Gaithersburg would have visual arts and design, medical science and healthcare. Damascus, performing arts and communication. Watkins Mill would have international baccalaureate, humanities and languages. Seneca Valley would have international baccalaureate. Clarksburg would have medical science and healthcare. Quince Orchard, communication, languages, leadership, public service. Poolesville would have science and math, computer science with global ecology and engineering, humanities. Northwest would have performing arts, visual arts and design, and education. And there is a little key at the bottom of the slide. Capitalization is new program. Italicize is existing. The caret is a less common language. And then the asterisk is a proposed criteria-based program. Okay. A high-quality program includes experiences beyond the classroom, where students build relationships around shared interests, immerse themselves in content, have fun competing toward common goals, gain authentic hands-on experiences, and learn directly from professionals in the field. Examples include job shadowing and work-based learning with hospitals such as Holy Cross and Montgomery General, field trips to the National Museum of Health and Medicine, or a tour of the Shock Trauma Center at the University of Maryland Medical Center, capstone research projects conducted in the partnership with post-secondary institutions. Students can also join clubs like the HOSA Future Health Professionals, attend conferences, and compete in health and science skills competitions. Earn SSL, that's student service learning hours, by volunteering at health fairs or through mentoring programs. And of course, all this is made possible through strong partnerships with the industry and higher education. Together, high interest, challenging courses combined with rich co- and extracurricular opportunities ensure that students are well prepared not only for college, but also careers in healthcare and biomedical sciences. So now let's look at an example. In this example, we're looking at a regional medical science and healthcare program. The school already offers a strong certified clinical and medical assistants and certified nursing assistant programs. So there's a solid foundation to build on. The regional program would have 3 pathways. First, a criteria-based medical science pathway, and 2 interest-based clinical pathways, nursing assistant, and medical assistant. Many of these key pieces are already in place. Specialized classrooms, qualified teachers, some with real-world medical experience, and strong industry partners. To grow the existing program into a full regional program, we need to take a few next steps. Create a 9th grade entry point, which could mean science cohorting and making sure students are included in and extracurricular opportunities, and potentially expand based on enrollment. The criteria-based medical science pathway will require more development using some existing courses, but also adding new classes and experiences outside the classroom. So I'm sure there's many questions, and you're adding them into our Q&A, but we have a few frequently asked questions that we're going to go through. So hopefully we'll answer some of those questions with our frequently asked questions. Will local high schools continue to offer application-only programs? These pathways may continue if they reflect students' interest and impact by way of enrollment, completion, and student outcomes. What happens to application-only programs? This is to be determined. Many local application programs were an outgrowth to provide similar programming to students interested in criteria-based programs. Is rising grade 9 the only entry point to the regional programs? There will be additional on-ramps to enter the program beyond grade 9. Will aviation at Magruder High School be available as a regional program? Yes, the aviation program may continue as an interest-based regional program. Will the DCC and NEC discontinue? Yes, the DCC and NEC will evolve into the regional model, and elements of its success will be reflected in the model going forward. Will countywide programs remain? The countywide programs will become regional. Okay, we're going to go ahead to the next slide where we have some more questions and answers. Will my student go through the DCC choice process? Starting with those currently in grade 7, students will be assigned to the home school, however, will have the opportunity to apply to one of the regional programs within the region. Does my student have to apply to a regional program? No. It is not required to apply to any program within the determined region. Your student may attend the home school and take advantage of the local programs available within the school. Will there be a sibling link if my oldest has already gone through the choice process? The proposal suggests that the choice process will be phased out. If so, your current middle school or younger students will attend their home school unless invited to a regional program. What happens to existing local signature and academy programs? Several local signature programs have been anchor to schools within the NEC. The school will determine if the current programs will continue within their scheduling model. Is the regional program model a choice process like the Down County Consortium? No, the regional model is not a choice process. Students will be expected to attend their home school and have the option of applying to regional programs. Can students apply to a regional program after starting high school? There will be additional on-ramps to enter the program beyond grade 9. Some factors to consider are space available at the school within the program. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. This is just a visual to show how seats will become more available over time in the implementation as it's being phased in. And our next slide is also going to show you how the new model is going to be phased in. And this is a helpful visual here. So for this visual, let's review the chart before you. Your student is currently, if your student is currently in grade 7, you will see a yellow box outline for the graduation year of 2030. As a current grade 7 student, your student would be the first to be part of this newly proposed regional model. Your grade 7 student would not go through the choice process, but have the option to apply to a regional program within the new model or attend their home high school. So the current 7th graders would be the first group of students to participate in this new model. Okay, so this is just a timeline that shows what's coming up next. So if you visit the program analysis page, you can continue to provide feedback and ask questions. The board should be making a decision in March. And then in fall of next year is when the 7th graders would be getting the information to go through this new process. Okay, so we're going to go back to our activator. So we have all of our answers here. So number 1, 27 is the number of high schools MCPS will have in 2 years. And you may have heard that as we were going through the presentation. A lot of these answers, actually. Okay. Number 2, 2027, the year the proposed regional model and new boundaries for 50 secondary schools will take place. Number 3, 2000 plus, the number of grade 8 students in the wait pool or wait list for regional countywide programs. Number 4, less than 10, the number of NEC and DCC grade 8 students that applied to the Poolsville Global Ecology Program. 590, the percent of students attending their local high school. And 635, the number of full-time 9th grade programs. Okay, so finally, we just wanted to share some resources with you. We have QR codes to the DCC website and also a QR code to the program analysis and boundary study website. So please check those out. We update them with new information. And then we're going to use the rest of this time to go through your questions and answer as many as we can.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay, Irene?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all so much. I'm Jeannie Franklin. I'm the director of the Department of Consortia Choice and the Application Program Services. I understand my camera is a little off. Let's see if I can fix that. A little bit better. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. So I am going to help support with the questions, and thank you so much to our Spanish interpreters, our ASL presenter, and Irene for sharing all of this information. So let's begin with a few questions that we saw earlier. One question is, will all schools have equivalent access to equivalently advanced courses, such that outside of the magnets, a student would not have more difficulty accessing any particular advanced course from their home school than if they lived in the catchment of another school? So, our effort with our local schools is to provide advanced courses. We recognize that there is some variance with some of our courses, whether it's languages or math or some of the electives. We are looking to do an assessment. We have a lot of that information now and looking to determine how to ensure all schools have the courses that are very much sought after. And then, in cases where we might have some challenges with staffing or enrollment, but there's still great interest, how can we leverage technology to help support access to these advanced courses? There's a question about the Down County Consortium and that we have all of these great programs already in the Down County Consortium. Why do we need to consider discontinuing? That's a really good question. And I am a big fan of the Down County Consortium and the Northeast Consortium. The numerous programs that are available certainly are something to celebrate. And what we believe is that we are building off of the signature opportunities and the strengths of the Down County Consortium and the Northeast Consortium in this model by placing and growing and expanding programs throughout the county. Currently, in MCPS, we have 25 high schools, and in our 25 high schools, we have 9 high schools that do not offer any regional or countywide program. And in those cases, some students are just leaving those schools and are looking for a regional program or a countywide program at their local school to attend. So in this model, every high school will have a regional model to implement for students, whether they are students within the region or students at their local school. So this definitely addresses access and opportunity for students to have programs available to them. And Irene did a really nice job talking about some of the barriers. And what we wanted to make sure to do is over the years, we've received feedback from families that there are barriers to accessing programs, such as the distance, or that there's only one of this program, or that um, we're not eligible for the program because some of our programs have eligibility requirements. As a result, we now have an opportunity to evaluate all of those pieces so that we can bring a set of programs to students in all of the regions and reduce the barriers of transportation and distance. So let's take a look at a few more. There's a question about when will we hear about middle schools. Are there changes being made to the middle school magnet programs? If so, when will these changes be implemented and will it be the same timeline? This is a really good question. And as you may have noticed from the first slide, this is really the secondary program analysis work. We are still working toward finalizing our proposal for the high school regional programs. And therefore, we don't have any news right now about the middle school programs. And as soon as that's available, we will certainly bring that forward to the community and the Board of Education. So there was a question about how do we submit information on the regions. What we do have available is a website, and it's titled the Academic Programs Analysis website. It's on the MCPS website, and you can just add those words in the search bar. And when you pull that up, we have a few tabs at the top. One is Ask a Question, and we also use that for submitting any feedback or input. We will be posting some responses as we have answers for you on that website. And there is another question that some families have asked whether this slide deck and this video will be available. Yes, that will be made available on our website. The MCPS website will make sure to indicate that to you. The other piece is will we have additional information meetings? So we do have two additional dates for the sessions. We also have another one this evening from 6 to 7 p.m. We will be providing additional information to the Down County Consortium families. And thank you for joining us. If you are outside of that, we really appreciate it. But we'll also have additional sessions on October 27th and October 22nd. And we'll have an afternoon session and an evening session for you. So you can use the Ask a Link website to provide feedback on the regions. There's a question about how long will the bus rides be. So we don't have exactly all of the data on the bus rides within a region, but we did talk with the Department of Transportation, and one of the ranges of time they're suggesting can range between 25 to 55 minutes, depending on the region that you're in. If you look at the region's map, you will see that some areas are larger in terms of structure and the land mass. And so that might be why it's a little bit longer that way. Sometimes it can be longer just because some areas are more dense with traffic. So, but that was the range at one time was 25 to 55 minutes. Okay.
I'm seeing several questions about if the slides are going to be shared. We will share the slides. They'll be posted probably, I think, on the program analysis website and then also on the DCC website.
So a couple of questions about local pathways and the asset maps. So earlier in the slide deck, there were a few slides that showed the color bars with the schools down the left, and then the darkened areas showing the school's assets. So we want to just remind you when you were looking at those charts, the asset maps were really focused on a narrow band of information, such as does the school have a central and regional countywide program? If they do, what's the content? We darkened the circle, darkened the rectangle. Does the school have information from facilities about their arts facilities? And if we received some information, we added some information there. The other pieces were language offerings. We know that many of our schools offer French and Spanish, and we were looking for less common languages. So for schools that offer a variety of other languages, they got credit there. But what we did not add were schools' local pathways, their successful local pathways. And at the beginning of the presentation, Irene talked about how 90% of the students in MCPS in high schools are attending their high school, their local high school. So we really need vibrant, exciting pathways at our local schools. And we recognize that some families are wondering, why did you not elevate our successful local pathway as an asset? It is an asset, but what we wanted to do was narrow down the pathways and the programs for this asset map for this time. We are getting feedback now from schools and from the community about additional assets that are used to be informed, that's going to be used to inform the work of the second phase of the recommendations for the program proposal. So we do appreciate all of those pieces, and we still want to absolutely have strong local pathways because, again, that's where we serve most of our students is in the local school. So there's some questions about, are we going to lose programs and are we moving programs? So one of the commitments that we had in this process is that we wanted to honor local traditions and local innovation. So as we're looking at what the schools have to offer locally and what our regional and countywide sites are, we are not proposing to remove any pathways. We're not proposing to move any programs. What families may be seeing is that existing local pathways have been elevated to become a regional program. And that's in the case where some of our high schools did not offer a regional countywide program. I mentioned 9 before, and therefore we wanted to ensure that those schools had a meaningful, interesting, regional program that they can offer since they had not offered one in the past. That's the first place that we started. And then we wanted to ensure that we kept the programs that our families so loved and hold in high regard in the schools. So that is what we want to do. And you will also see that our programs that are highly sought after, we're expanding to other regions. Irene, are you seeing any other questions that you might be able to answer?
Mhm. Um, at the moment,
So I have another one. So this is a really great question. Uh, why do these program changes have to happen at the same time as the boundary study? So I think that that's a really good question because the boundary study it encompasses two scopes of work to open Woodward and open up Crown High Schools in 2027. The work of the access and the programs right now um, has been ongoing work. We've had our regional and countywide programs installed by different leaders and at different times in our history um, over the past 45, 50 years. And we are at a time where we are able to look at the access and the inequities in some of our programs and act with a sense of urgency to support broader access going forward. And although for some it might feel that this is challenging to do all at the same time, we want to assure you that we want to provide you deliberate, intentional information that will be helpful for this process. We want to consider all of the feedback that we're receiving, but we are interested in addressing our strategic plan, which is academic access. And this is one way for us to address that is by broadening programs that have historically been sought after. So we're very excited about that, and we are looking to provide our students in 2027 beyond with numerous programs going forward.
so we do have a question about what is a criteria-based program? So there's two types of application programs. One is interest-based and one is criteria-based. Interest-based is just a lottery. So you show interest that you want, you're interested in the program, you get put into a lottery, and then seats are filled, and sometimes there's a wait list for the programs. And the criteria based, you show interest, but there's criteria for it. So depending on the program, it might be grades, it might be MAP scores. So there's criteria to get into the program. So that's the distinction between the two. So currently for application programs, you apply through Parent View. There's one common application. And for interest-based, you're just checking them off. For the criteria-based, there's like an essay that you fill out, and then in addition to it, they may also be looking at, grades or test scores as well.
Thanks, Irene. So we're seeing a few questions about whether Einstein is losing the International Baccalaureate program. For all other schools that have programs and pathways, the program analysis work is not designed to remove any programming. And so the schools that host IB programs currently, um, it is being proposed that those schools continue to offer them. Some programs may be elevated to be a regional program. Some schools have had successful implementation with offering it as a local program. And we also want to assure you on the regional programs proposal, where we are listing the regions and listing the schools in the color coded, what we wanted to show you. And if we can share that screen one more time, if we can show region 3, there was a question about letting a family see region 3 a little longer, because as you see on the slides, region, the Down County Consortium is in two is in two regions, Region 1 and Region 3. And as a result, we wanted to, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I read a chat. We are trying to show the slide deck because we wanted to make sure families who wanted to see that information could. And I believe,
I think I can get it.
okay. I have it.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So let's go back to Region 3. Wanted to clarify. Okay. Now remember what I was going to say. So some families are noticing that here are the proposed regional programs. This is not in place of local programs. These are an additional program that the school is going to offer, but all of our high schools are comprehensive schools, will offer a full cast of programs and pathways. Not programs, but they're going to be offering pathways. So if the school already has a very strong visual arts or a performing arts or a science math pathway or an engineering pathway, and they don't see it listed, that pathway can still continue. These are listed to show families what other students in a region can apply to. So an example, let's look at Region 3, which includes John F. Kennedy and Wheaton High School, two schools currently in the Down County Consortium. So Wheaton is going to offer science, math, and computer science and engineering. That's the proposed regional model. That means that students from the other three schools, including Wheaton students, can apply to Wheaton's science, math, and computer science and engineering program. And then other students can apply to John F. Kennedy's medical science and healthcare and international baccalaureate. So if you are interested in applying to one of these programs and you're in the region, then you can apply. If you decide that your local high school has pathways that are desirable and interesting to you, then you don't need to. These are all optional. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can see folks. Well, I can't see you. Okay.
There was a question about students who are currently in DCC high schools, and will they have to go if their school changes, will they have to go to the new school? And if you are currently an eighth grader, or you're currently assigned through the choice process to a DCC school, you can remain through graduation. So this change will only impact students who are in seventh grade this year and younger.
So I have a question here. What study was conducted to formulate this plan and can it be shared? The presentation at the beginning talked about the rationale, such as equitable access to programs. How were these measured? So I can share a few items, and quite a bit of this information is available on our Board of Education slides that we've presented in July and August, maybe even June. And we have those available on the academic program analysis website. But a few items that were noticed. When we looked at our countywide programs, we have 25 high schools. When we look at who's enrolled in those programs, it is it is not students from all 25 high schools. What we're seeing in some of our countywide programs is that there are 3 to 5 schools that dominate the seats in those programs. And so that's a piece of information that has informed this work. Another piece that has informed this work was one of your activator questions. How many of the Northeast Consortium and Down County Consortium students apply to the countywide program of global ecology at Poolesville? And what we have seen in the past few years, it's usually 10 or less. And one of the reasons, obviously, is that the distance to Poolesville is quite far. And another is that there is very limited transportation. So we are looking at these pieces of information from our families and from the data that are informing this work. We also I'm getting another question about when will more information be shared. So we will have another presentation like this from 6 to 7. And then we will also have more information October 22nd and October 27th, 2 sessions per day. We anticipate that those sessions will have much more information that's been updated. As you know, this is a work in progress. And many of you have asked, why was this decision made? When was this decision decided upon? Lots of different ways of asking the decision. We are in a proposal phase to the Board of Education to address access and opportunity and abundance. We're really excited about some new programs that might not have come to light for you that I happen to be very excited about. On our one of the pieces of information that we received from many of you who filled out the academic program analysis survey early this summer shared the big themes of which programs we should offer. And one of them included the arts, which is great, but a new program that's going to be offered as part of the proposal is performing arts. And when we look at performing arts, we're thinking dance, theater, um, music. And as a result, this will be a new opportunity for our students. Another new opportunity is medical science. That is a new proposed program, and that will also be in 6 different regions. We're also standing up a few of our familiar and sought after programs, such as our science, math, and computer science, and our humanities. So these are, and then also we're looking at um, some of our career and technical education programs, where, such as health professions, where many students um, highly desire. We have long wait lists and we have great interest in some of these programs, but it's we are unable to replicate all of these programs in every single school. Hence why the regional model is an opportunity for us to ensure students have access to multiple programs. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Irene Vane, our instructional specialist, and all of our interpreters who are helping share this information. Should you want to join us again, we will be presenting this evening between 6 and 7 p.m. on the same link. And we also will have additional sessions on October 22nd and 27th. We will work to answer many more of your questions and post those on the academic programs website as soon as we can. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you all for your time and your questions.